Nothing the screen has ever shown before can surpass the thrills of
the Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast.
Created from an atomic fireball hurled from outer space,
The Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast.
threatens man's very existence on Earth.
The Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast.
Battles Godzilla, Mafia, and Rodan for mastery of the world. Men quake before the terror of their unleashed fury. All new, all never to be forgotten. A new high in
Visions from Monsterland. Hello everyone, welcome to the Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast, bringing you Visions from Monsterland. My name is Jerry, and joining me is, of course, the 10 out of 10 feet tall Derek.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. And the guy who always has venom in his cup, Mr. Venom.
Mushy mushy.
What he said. And last but not least, the Don of most Japanese things, Don.
Screonk, everyone.
And today on our second episode, we are going to take on the 1972 classic? We'll find out. Godzilla vs. Gigan, and of course, Ultraman Episode 2, Defeat the Invaders. So, before we get into that, Derek, how you been?
Like on and off with this cold. It keeps coming back and on, but I sound pretty good today. Like, if we did the show yesterday, it would be a different story.
Fair enough. Well, I'm glad that you're sounding good today. Mr. Venom, how are you?
Damn good, damn good. This is, as I mentioned earlier, this is my third podcast of the day, so I am in podcast mode. I'm ready to go.
So what two did you record today, then?
We did Theme Warriors earlier today, and then Mike Merriman and myself also did another episode of Just the Movies, where we discussed the new release, A Quiet Place.
Gotcha. Okay. And Don, what you been up to?
Not much. Just keeping busy, reading, writing, doing my blogging, and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna be doing some reading here soon. I got two books from Brian Sammons from the ABCs of Hidden Horror and Evil Episodes. So I got some Cthulhu books I'm gonna dip my toes in.
Nice.
Let me ask. Okay, so I've always been into big monsters. I've always been into kaiju. I have never been into Cthulhu. So for y'all, do any of y'all have has there ever been for y'all was it? Do you like kaiju and it got you into Cthulhu? Did you like Cthulhu and it got you into kaiju, or have they always been separate? Or anybody got any feelings on that?
Well, I actually got more into Cthulhu after I got into the Godzilla and stuff. Like, that was a little after that, you know what I mean? Like, when I started, my first H.P. Lovecraft experience is, of course, like Reanimator and From Beyond. And then I read some more about his work and stuff and started reading his stories. And I got more into Cthulhuism after that. It's interesting when you read it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'll be my first time dipping into the genre Lovecraft created with the weird tales. In fact, when we get to where we review Matango, Lovecraft will come back up.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting. I have a whole thing on that. Venom, did you have any have they ever crossed paths for you?
Pretty much the same as Derek. I mean, I discovered kaiju as a kid, and obviously H.P. Lovecraft writing is a little bit over most kids' heads, so I didn't really discover him until more into my teenage years. Pretty much the same thing as Derek. I mean, I saw From Beyond and instantly was like, I need to experience more of this stuff. And that's when somebody clued me in that, you know, it's loosely based or inspired by Lovecraftian creatures and, you know, cosmic horror and whatnot. So I just started reading, and I also picked up one of those books from Mr. Salmon. So I got one on the way myself. I'll be doing a little bit of reading, which is going to be the first printed word I've read in probably years. So it's going to be an experience. But yeah, I mirror almost Derek's experience exactly.
Don, are you part of this mirror?
I'm going to be honest. Cthulhu is one of the few Lovecraft stories I haven't gotten to yet. I'm familiar with the concept. I know of it actually more through the people that have taken it and ran with it themselves, so to speak. But the actual original Lovecraft story, that's one of the few I haven't gotten to yet.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, so that'll be interesting for me to dip my toes in, and obviously, Venom, you're dipping your toes in. Which one did you get?
I picked up the Return of the Old Ones.
Okay, I picked up two. I grabbed the Arkham one, and then I grabbed the Steampunk one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm going in some weird variants.
Yeah, I gotta check those out. Maybe I'll pick some up too.
Yes, I don't know if he's still selling some because we got them from his personal collection, and apparently, like, the two that I got, one of them's out of print and kind of expensive, but he gave me a deal on it, so I didn't really have to worry about that. But yeah, guys, if you're into the world of Lovecraft and stuff like that, Brian M. Sammons, as he goes by, has put together a lot of this book. He's called the editor on it, and he's put together a lot of them. So free shout out, free plug to him. Definitely go check that out if you're into that. But we came here for a reason. We came here to talk about Godzilla vs. Gigan. So that's what we're going to do. Now, this is Jun Fukudo's, I don't know if I said that right, Fukudo. There's going to be an ongoing joke where I just fuck up everyone's names.
Hey, it happens, man.
It's going to happen every single time, Derek. Like, Don, you have to be really good at Asian names, as much Asian cinema as you do. So when I fuck them up, I'm going to need you to step up and be like, Jerry, you're wrong.
I'll try to do my best. I'll keep an ear out for it.
Yeah, so this is his third Godzilla movie, 12th overall. And this is where you start realizing in the series, the budgets are no longer there. After Destroy All Monsters, especially, budget started going the fuck down. And this, to me, is the movie where you really start realizing it, because the movie before this, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, doesn't seem to have the same issues that this movie does. It has a whole bunch of different issues, but not the issues that make you notice that there were budget constraints.
Yes.
And
we'll talk about that when we eventually cover Hedorah. I'm pretty sure of it, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, when we get into Mr. Bano. But, so, I was looking at the description of this movie that IMDb had, and I think it's kind of funny. A man begins to suspect that something is wrong about his employers. Meanwhile, Godzilla and Anguirus are alerted to something strange going on. That sounds like Godzilla and Anguirus are fucking detectives. Something's not right here, Anguirus. We need to go fucking check this out. We're the fucking Kaiju Hardy Boys.
We're fucking Sherlock Holmes and you're my Watson. Let's do this.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can just see Godzilla in the pipe, the tweed hat and the pipe right now, smoking.
Oh my god, yes.
It almost seems like Anguirus is kind of Godzilla's bitch in this part, because Godzilla actually sends him out by himself to check it out the first time. And then he has to get a report before he's like, oh, okay, I'll take action.
Yeah, ever since Anguirus got his ass beaten, Godzilla Rays again, he's pretty much become Godzilla's best friend. He's become Godzilla's sidekick. And so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, in this movie, we have Godzilla and Anguirus versus Gigan and King Ghidorah. And a whole lot of day for night scenes and a whole lot of fuck it, it's just going to look like day even though it's supposed to be night. Which, okay, so like I said,
we'll get into that too.
We'll get into
So, like I said, this was the first time I had watched the movie in a long time. This is not one of the ones I actually rewatch a lot because of how slow the start is. And I actually gotta say, I was actually pretty bored with this movie until the fight because I really didn't care about the human characters, or the alien characters for that matter, at all. And it's for a little bit I was actually like, oh my god, I've seen this all before in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Then I realized that this was before Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and it's not that I had seen it before, it's just that it gets done better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this whole like thing with like the aliens and stuff has been done to death with the Godzilla series.
Well, you figure this is the third time they've trotted this trope out. It's, invasion of Astro Monster and destroy all monsters all over again.
correct. And they don't stop. They continue to do it. Like I said, they did it in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and then again in Terror of Mechagodzilla, but I feel like those are done better than here. So, with that being said, Derek, what are some of the things that you love about Godzilla vs. Gigan?
Well, Gigan.
It is one of the best like kaiju designs out there. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And like the whole battle at the end is very epic because it's like a tag team match between them, and it's like the first Destroy All Monsters is like one monster against like 900 monsters. You know what I mean? So this is like 2 against 2. It's like perfect, even numbers. You know what I mean? It's the first time they actually did that.
That's true. That holds up very well.
Yeah. And even though the whole like human side of the story, I do like some of like the quirky humor shit. I do like, even because it is kind of cheesy and dated, like the whole scene where our main character Gingo is being like he thinks there's a gun in his bag and it ends up being a fucking ear of corn. The shit like that just makes me laugh for some weird reason. So I do like little like cliched humor shit like that in this movie.
Okay. Mr. Venom, what are some things you like about this movie?
Well, for those who don't know, Gigan actually is my favorite villainous kaiju. Absolutely. I actually, the first time I saw this, I was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 12, 13 years old. And I was starting to develop a little bit of a dark appeal for villains. That's right around when Darth Vader hits the scene, and Maximilian, the big red robot from the Disney film, the Black Hole, excuse me. So I started getting into villains right around this time, and because this was one of the first movies, it may not be one of the first times it actually happened in chronologically, but it was the first time that I had seen Godzilla basically get his ass whooped. And actually get cut multiple times. I mean, I had never seen Godzilla bleed before this film. And just something about that kind of appealed to me. And even the way it ended, I mean, ultimately our 2 villains end up just, flying away, basically retreating. But it's one of those things where I felt like Gigan didn't look like as much of a bitch as Ghidorah did, after his ass whooping. He took that flame blast there from Godzilla in the belly while he was flying, and that was pretty much the end of the fight for him. But yeah, like I said, just watching Godzilla and kind of being in awe that Toho would allow, another kaiju to just basically own Godzilla for, even if it was only for like a, 5 minutes out of a 30-minute fight scene, it was still, it was something new to me. Same thing. I had the same feeling first time watching The Empire Strikes Back. That was one of the first movies that I ever watched where at the end, you could basically say the villains came out on top. And even though the villains don't come out on top on this one, they had their moment in the sun. And I just always admired the film for that. And admittedly, I'm on board with all of you. This is not the strongest Godzilla film by any stretch. It's not necessarily one of my favorites. It's up there. It's definitely top 10 probably. But it's all about Gigan for me on this one. And I just loved what he was able to do in that fight against old Gogeta.
Yeah. So fun fact: this is the first movie where Godzilla bleeds. Not the first movie where Kaiju bleeds, because actually Anguirus bled in Godzilla Raids Again. Mm-hmm. But Eiji Tsuburaya was very much against Godzilla bleeding, and he would not allow it. But at this point, I believe he was dead. So
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, he died in 1970.
Yeah. So at this point, they were allowed to do whatever they wanted. So they made Godzilla bleed, and they took a book out of the Hammer. Well, they took a page out of the Hammer book and made it some bright red.
Yeah.
So that
awesome
was pretty
70s
cool.
red.
And you're right. Ghidorah does kind of seem like a little bitch in this movie, which is weird because Ghidorah is supposed to be, like, if anyone is Godzilla's mortal enemy, it's Ghidorah. Like, that's when you maybe it's just me, but me personally, when I think of Godzilla's biggest nemesis, it's always Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Ghidorah is usually being controlled by someone.
Yep.
Which he was in this case.
Correct. Him and Gigan were being controlled, and they got once they were no longer under control, they kind of turned on themselves a little bit because Godzilla and Anguirus pulled some fucking Doom shit and just had the monsters fight each other until they eventually were like, well, fuck this, and they left.
Yeah.
So, very cool ending. All right, so Don, what are some things you love about this movie?
Well, I'm going to third the love for Gigan, probably one of my top 5 favorites, but I'm going to go a different route, and I'm going to give the absolute perfect piece of evidence as to Ifukube's brilliance. None of these tracks were composed for this movie, and yet they fit. The music fits this movie better, probably even than the original scenes, and it was never composed for those sequences. It was all cribbed from other sources. And I don't know of any composer that has ever been able to lay claim to that fact. So
you are 100% right there. Ifukube had this ability to rework tracks and mix tracks and reuse them in ways that were always new. Like, if you go back and listen to the Varan soundtrack, so much of that gets reused and improved on in later movies.
Yeah.
Ifukube literally... There's a reason why he's always mentioned when you talk about the creation of Godzilla, is because he made the soundtrack for a shared universe that I've never seen anyone else do. Like, you could say that closest would probably be John Williams with Star Wars.
Right, but the thing is that, none of his movies are reused soundtrack cues. He'll take, snippets from his previous work, but he's never had his score from previous films reused in a brand new movie. There's never been, he's always composed new music for a movie. It's never been, we have absolutely no money for a score. Let's just take everything that we've looked at in the past and reuse the best pieces.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right there. That is one of the greatest things, because I remember listening to it, watching this, and I was like, oh, that's a Moonbase 1 theme from Destroy All Monsters. Because Destroy All Monsters is one of the soundtracks that are actually available on Spotify, and I have a Godzilla playlist on Spotify. And so that's on there, and it's also one of my all-time favorite pieces of music that Ifukube's ever created.
Yeah, top 3 for me.
Oh yeah, that Moonbase theme?
Oh, Frigate March and Godzilla's theme I always go back and forth between those 3.
Oh god, yes, it's so good. So that is an amazing thing to point out, Don. I love it. So as for me, while watching this, did anyone go, I hate to say it, but I would, as much as I hate the guy, I think I would let Michael Bay remake this movie. There are so many explosions in this fucking movie. Everywhere you look is explosions, and they look fantastic. Jun Fukuda can handle action. If you watch his Godzilla movies, he can handle action. He can handle explosions like a boss. They looked fantastic. That is one thing. And you know what? I'm not an explosions guy. I'm not. In this movie, they are shot beautifully, and I love them. And that's one of my favorite things about this movie.
Yeah, it adds an extra impact, especially in the beginning of the fight where you see them in the oil refinery. I mean, that thing is just wall-to-wall fire, and yet, it's one of the most gorgeous whatever you want to call it, choreography pieces ever in the series. You've got the 4 of them going at each other in the blazing inferno while explosions go off around them. And yeah, there's some of the times there may not be the biggest pieces of, the budget going around, but man, some of these scenes, they, even if they stumble on it accidentally, just look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, 100%. There's that close-up shot of Gigan's face with the fire in front of him that is fucking just beautiful. And then there's a pan shot where Gigan and Ghidorah are setting fire to the tanks. And it's just a gorgeous shot. You just look at it and go, man, especially, I'll say this, that the Blu-ray release from Kraken,
great transfer.
There's some graininess still, but I'm 100% okay with a little graininess.
But I don't mind grain.
It's
either.
a great transfer. And so I actually pulled out, because I have the Sony DVD release, and I put it in there, and you know what? Sony's DVD release was also a really good transfer. So apparently there are good elements for this movie out there, because it looks amazing. And I know Toho right now in Japan is doing 4K scans of all their of a lot of the Godzilla movies. And I know the last one I heard they were working on was Godzilla versus King Kong. And I know that the screenshots I've seen that have been posted on August Ramon's Facebook page, which, guys, if you want to make sure all your Godzilla news is legit, follow August Ramon. He's the one who Ragone. I'm sorry, yeah. Ragone.
No worries.
My apologies,
no worries,
August. I love you.
If there's anything anywhere you want to know about Japanese sci-fi and fantasy, take it from us. Go to him. We're peons compared to him.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He is so legit. Like, he wrote the book about Eiji Tsuburaya. That's really fantastic. If you see his name anywhere associated with anything, take it for 100% undisputable fact. Yeah, and his commentary track on the Shout Factory Gamera DVD release, fucking great. That I don't think I brought that up last time when we recorded our episode on Gamera, but he does a fantastic commentary on there. Even though there are some weird things that happen with the audio, but that's not his fault. That's on Shout Factory. Mm-hmm. He is the gospel. When all the shit was going on for Shin Godzilla before it came out, I did not believe a thing until he posted it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the man right there. But nonetheless, it's time to get into a little bit of the bad. Derek, what is something you really don't like about this movie?
Well, this plagued a few other Godzilla movies that came before this one. The laziness of using stock footage.
And, okay, let's talk about exactly how lazy they... Like, one, the Ghidorah scenes that they straight up just ripped from Destroy All Monsters, they didn't even try to darken it. Like, it was still clearly day.
Yeah.
And it's so...
Yeah.
It stops you.
Exactly. Like, and just like mostly all Ghidorah scenes, besides like the ones where him and Gigan are like on the ground next to each other, is mostly stock footage. You know what I mean? Besides, like another thing that was really bothersome watching it this time was the fucking two little puppets of them flying. Because Ghidorah's wings ain't even fucking moving and shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay, I know we're not there yet, but like, whenever I see those scenes, it just makes me go. It makes me think of Ultraman, because Ultraman does the exact same shit. Where it's so clearly just a like model that does not move, and it looks just like a toy, and it does not move. And you're right. It is so bad for Ghidorah in this one. In most of the other ones, they have the tail moving and shit. But in this one, they don't do it. With Gigan, at least they have like puffs of like white smoke coming out. Like they're about to elect a new fucking pope.
Well, you look at his... I mean, for him, it's kind of a pass because he's got like the fans. Like you can maybe guess that would be a form of propulsion. So, he kind of gets a pass, where... He wouldn't necessarily have to like flap anything. It would just be like, he can glide with those. But yeah, for Ghidorah, it looks really, really off.
And plus his eyes are all red and like the in the puppet scenes, but then when they do the close-ups, his eyes ain't red. Makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I will 100% give you that. So, Venom, what is something you dislike about this movie?
Honestly, I hated our main character. I was not a fan of his getting his way by acting like a complete idiot kind of scheme that he had going on. It just bothered me. It bothered me the way he the way he was communicating with that woman early on, the karate black belt. It's like, did you just call a
sister?
black? Did you?
Okay, here. Oh, hold up. You're saying sister, and I think in the English version they do make it his sister, but apparently in the Japanese version, from what I was looking at, that's his girlfriend.
Yeah, that's girlfriend. That's sister.
That makes more sense. Yeah, I saw the dub. Huh.
Yeah, but in the dub, they kind of... I don't even know if he says sister. I know he calls her a bitch, but... yeah. It doesn't... But yeah, there's no romantic entanglement there at all that you can see.
Yeah.
Nope.
So anyway, continue.
I basically got the gist of it out. I just did not like our main character. I didn't like the way he got things accomplished. Even though ultimately he got done what needed to get done, he just did it in such a terrible way. I mean, I rolled my eyes at him so much I thought they were coming out. I mean, I couldn't deal with him too much. And it's the same. It's kind of the same weakness with a lot of these kaiju movies. Is it's always the human element that ends up maybe not ruining a film, but at least knocking it down or peg or two.
Yeah.
You know?
So this movie always gets paired a lot with Godzilla versus Megalon. And Godzilla vs. Megalon had a cheaper budget, but I still feel like it did everything better. Like, Gigan and Ghidorah teaming up sounds amazing, but they don't deliver on the goods. We get a good scene of Gigan beating the shit out of Godzilla, but the fight uses so much stock footage that it doesn't feel like a good tag team match, as where the next movie feels like a much better tag team match.
Yeah. And like even like in that fight when you see Godzilla fighting Ghidorah and they use the stock footage, you see like Mothra in some of the scenes and shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yes. But he's right in the sense that, like, to me, this almost feels like it should have been it feels like a made-for-TV movie. It feels like this is television. I'm watching. It feels like I could cut this into like a 2-parter for Ultraman, or even a 1-parter, cutting out all the stock footage.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, Don, what is something you dislike about this movie?
Well, I'm going to sound a little contradictory here, but I'm also going to go with the cheapness of Derek.
Derek is cheap. I pay him in Oreos.
I'm going to say, the stock footage bothers me a bit, but the other thing that's kind of obvious about it is I'm going to specifically mention several times during the fight, the musical cues repeat themselves simply because they weren't long enough for the sequence, and so they restrung the song to play again because the fight scene was lasting too long. Yeah, so the song will start up again.
They had to rematch every time. They had to reuse the same shot of Gigan flying.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. But no, you're right on that too. There are a lot of times where it's just like, it almost feels like when you're playing a video game and you're wasting a bunch of time, so the song starts looping again.
Right.
Yeah.
So mine's going to actually be maybe a little controversial. I'm gonna throw this out on y'all. I do not like the Godzilla bleeding scenes. They don't sit well with me. They don't fit what I feel is the Showa era of Godzilla. They look like they were almost like, we're just gonna fucking do it. Let's have Gigan run into him 5 times so we can have like 2 shots of him bleeding. Like, I think it was a little much. I feel like maybe if they would have like, we didn't need like a fountain shooting out of Godzilla, is what I'm saying. Or like when Gigan splits his forehead, I don't know. I just did not care for all the blood in this Godzilla movie.
Well, the other thing, too, with that one, where he's pounding on his forehead, you realize just not long after that, you actually literally see the skin on the costume fall off. and it makes you realize why he's not bleeding from that wound rather than the one that hit him in the forehead.
Okay, you know what? Now that you brought it up, I gotta bring it up. Okay, we're gonna jump into the suits real quick because there's a couple of things I want to bring up. One, it's really weird going back and forth between Godzilla and Eyebrow Godzilla from the previous movies. Because, you know, like, Godzilla had those, like, one point where he basically, like, he was like, hey, guys, I put seaweed for eyelids. Doesn't it look fucking awesome? And it doesn't work. But so many times when Godzilla lifts up his arm, you can see pieces of the suit, like, just hanging off. And I'm like, guys, y'all couldn't go cut that off. It looks like he has damn skin tags.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they swim in, he has, like, giant bug eyes, and then he's normal eyes, like, after he gets out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the swimming scenes were done with the suit from Son of Godzilla.
That's why. Okay, I was wondering why that left eye looked wrong.
Yeah, the swimming scenes were done with the costume from Son of Godzilla. It became, after that movie, it became the sea costume. It was also used in Hedorah for a couple of sequences in the water tank. And then it was reused in this one for the scenes of Godzilla and Anguirus in the waters coming to the city.
Yeah. Now, Anguirus's water suit is often called the zombie Anguirus suit. Because when you look at him in the face, his eyes are widened over. He looks grungy as hell. It's an evil looking suit. I was kind of like, whoa. Because normally Anguirus looks like a puppy dog. And in this one, he looked grungy as hell for the water shots. Like, there's when he first is, like, spying on Gigan, and he comes out of the water, and they show that shot of his face. It's pretty evil looking. Like, it's vicious, man.
Yeah, it has some black on his head and shit.
Yes, like, it was, like, I was just like, you know what? I would like to see an Evil Anguirus movie based off this suit. Or I'd love to see X Plus make a figure of Evil Anguirus. That would just look dope. Cool. Gigan's suit is amazing.
Yes.
Like, I feel like all the budget's in that.
Yeah, one of the crowning jewels of the 70s.
Yes, it's so sad that he's in a lackluster movie, but that design with the buzzsaw and the thing. Okay, so I gotta find this thing I wrote down about. A lot of people apparently give him special abilities based off a poster that was made.
Right. The laser beam. Yeah, that was a pre-production idea, but it was decided that all of the budget wouldn't accommodate it. But they couldn't read to him in time. The plan was originally to give him the laser beam from the forehead, but then it would have cost too much in the optical printing stage, so it was removed from the film.
Yeah. And special effects director, holy shit,
Teruyoshi
there we go.
Nakano.
Yeah. He has came out to say, now keep in mind, he didn't write the script. He's special effects designer. He's special effects, but I don't know how much this plays into some of the other stuff. He's saying that he didn't feel like it fit the character. But here's the thing. To me, I don't see how it doesn't fit the character. We know nothing about Gigan.
Yeah.
You don't learn anything from him in this movie. So him having a jewel on his forehead, I would 100% see that and be like, he shoots shit out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you know, the only kind of, you could say, personality you get out of him is he likes to be happy-slashy with his claws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does.
He likes to kick, doesn't he? He kicks a lot.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, he is literally why we created the saying, kick a Godzilla when he's down.
There you go.
And they also had to think about, apparently Gigan was supposed to be able to breathe fire also, and it was stripped for the same reasons as the laser jewel head.
Yeah, but they decided to make the Godzilla tower shoot lasers for some weird reason. Okay.
Yes. All right. Now, I feel like Don will know about this, but I don't know about y'all. How much do y'all know about how this script was developed and the crazy ideas of what this movie was going to be before it became Godzilla vs. Gigan?
Oh, you mean the idea of Earth Defense Forces Space Patrol?
Yes. So, okay, well, even before that, it was originally going to be King Ghidorah's Great Counterattack, which would have
Right.
Godzilla, Rodan, and my boy, Varan, fighting Ghidorah, Gigan, and a new monster named Mogu. Now, Mogu is where we get interesting. So, it got reworked a little bit into Godzilla versus the Space Monster, the Earth Defense Command, which is what Don was talking about. So, this one had Godzilla, Anguillus, and Majin Tool, a giant stone idol similar to Daimajin, against King Ghidorah, Gigan, and Megalon, which all three were recruited by an evil alien brain called Miko. So this script did have like the Godzilla Tower and everything like that. And honestly, both versions of that sound amazing. But Megalon was dropped, Varan was dropped. Majin Tool was eventually reworked into another kaiju. Now, Don, you probably know this. But let's give these two to guess. Who did Majin Tool, who was basically Dajamin. Fuck me.
Daimajin.
Daimajin. Sorry. Who do y'all think that kaiju became? And the only hint I'll give you is that it was Showa.
King Caesar.
Yes, sir. King Caesar. And now I will sing to you the song of King Caesar. No, I won't. That is
The
the
3-hour song, man.
fucking, if there's any song that's almost as bad as the fucking words get caught in my throat from War of the Gargantuas, it's that song. Don, we went over this on Two Drink Commentary. You're wrong.
Yes, we did, but we never went over King Caesar song. It's fine up until the first verse.
Really?
I like Caesar's song. It's one of my favorites.
Oh,
It's
my
only
God.
the fact that he keeps repeating that.
Caesar.
Caesar. I'm not even going to try to sing right now.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And another interesting piece of information. Haru Nakajima's final appearance as Godzilla before retiring from the role. Always got to give him props, even though I really don't like his performance of Godzilla in this movie, because I don't get I don't even know how to explain it to you. But y'all know when he constantly just keeps raising his hands,
Yeah.
or he just like starts like tapping on his nose like he's done fucking cocaine or something.
I was wondering about that. Like it looked like he was like wiping his mouth a couple of times, and then where he would like wipe his mouth and then like throw his hand down like he's trying to dry off whatever he just wiped off his mouth. I don't know if he's making some kind of I want to fight you so bad I'm drooling type motion, but he does it 2 or 3 times in this film, and my wife and I were both like, that's got to mean something.
And,
Yeah, apparently that was a motion from a Japanese pop singer at the time. I've gone back and I've tried to figure out who it was, but I can't figure out. But that was a motion done by a Japanese pop singer at the time, and that was like one of the crowds, like a staple that he did at his live shows. And so it was done to try to like broaden Godzilla's appeal. Like, hey, I'm doing it too.
I gotcha. No, thank you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And ironically, the actor who played Gigan actually went on to become Godzilla.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So how do y'all feel about the American name? Was it Godzilla on Monsterland?
On Monster Island. Yeah.
Monster Island.
He's mostly on Monster Island for most of the movie until you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just like I like the poster, even though Godzilla looks more like the 1998 Godzilla.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that's where they stole the design from. It's very, I don't know. The name's always been a little weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely prefer Gigan in the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm either I'm gonna stick with that or at least like go with the full Japanese name, because Godzilla on Monster Island, I'm like yeah, he's on Monster Island, but they don't fight on Monster Island. They should have called it Godzilla on Monsterland.
Yeah,
because then at least it would have been like it would have fit with that. It really pisses me off that I want the Japanese Blu-rays of this have like fucking commentaries, and I want it so bad. Like, But I won't be able to understand anything. There's no one that does it, and it's hard to get Godzilla commentaries in general. You have the few that are on like the classic media releases, and that's pretty much it. And all the classic media ones are great, but it's just like one day I need to make enough money that I can pay like August or Steve Rifle or Ed Gotts. How do you say his last name? Don, you know what I'm talking about?
Godzucheski.
Him. I would love to pay them to actually make more commentary tracks, because it's something that I really, really want. Okay, so what else can we get to? Does anyone have anything they want to say about this movie?
There's a lot of chain smoking in this movie.
Yeah.
Everyone's smoking.
Yeah.
You know what? That's one thing that always bothers me about watching Japanese movies is how much they smoke. And I used to smoke. That's why it bothers me. Because every time I watch these movies, I want a cigarette. And it pisses me off that the Japanese people are known for being healthy and living forever. And like every single one of them smoke.
They even put fucking little tracking devices inside the cigarettes.
Yeah, that's one thing I was just like, really? That worked?
It did.
Well, I think we've gone on long enough. I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. The comic book or the voice?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I know. We've gone on long enough. I think we have to address it.
All right, Don.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to address it.
Don, lay it down. Tell the people what they want to hear.
Yeah. So when Anguirus is reporting back to Godzilla in various versions, you have one of two outcomes. In the Japanese version, the dialogue is exchanged in the form of comic books with balloons over the characters giving the information out. Mm-hmm. In the English version, you have Godzilla and Anguirus dubbed in some of the most god-awful voices ever conceived. Ever conceived, yeah. And
you can barely hear them too. The mix. I mean, I have a pretty good system here, and I'm watching the Kraken Blu-ray, and I could barely hear what they were saying. I had to turn the subtitles on.
Did it sound like it was like a DJ was like, like doing a record, like?
Yeah, it's like, he's like scratching them. It's like the vinyl is being scratched over the voices.
Mm-hmm. I'll go with that.
I really want to know at what point were they like, you know what, this is going to be a good idea? Like
when they were smoking weed.
It just makes no sense.
Which made me laugh when I watched it stoned for the first time.
I don't know if I could watch this stoned. I think the pacing of it's too slow in the beginning that I don't know if I could watch this stoned. I think I might get bored and fall asleep.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Megalon would probably be a better one to try out stones. That one's a little bit more action-packed.
Smog masks, or forget it. You'd be like, holy shit, this movie's terrifying.
I mean, for whatever it's worth, I will admit that the wife and I had a little herbal fun while watching this. And honestly, I think it actually helped because rather than the pacing coming off as slow in the first 15, 20 minutes, we just spent the whole time making fun of Gingo. So we were entertained.
Damn, that's the way to go then.
Yeah.
So I have a fascination with alternative titles. And I would like to throw some of the alternative titles at y'all and see if you can guess exactly what country named it this.
Oh, no.
Okay. Here we go. Earth Destruction Directive, Godzilla vs. Gigan.
That's the direct translation of the Japanese one, I believe, right?
You are correct. So let's step it up. Galleon, the monster of the galaxies, attack the Earth.
Galleon, I think I'm going to say Galileo. I'm going to say Italy on that one, but I don't know.
Pretty close. Spain.
I should have known that. Damn it.
All right. Earth Objective, Mission Apocalypse.
Italy?
Let's go with France.
I'm going to say Germany. No, that can't be Germany.
Venom got it right. It's France.
Oh.
This one should be easy if you know anything about the history of this country and Godzilla. Frankenstein's Hellbrood.
Yeah, that's
Germany.
Germany.
Yeah.
My first guess was Germany on the last one, but then I realized, oh crap, he's not called.
Yeah, no Frankenstein.
Yeah, he's not called Yeah, there was no Frankenstein.
What was it? In I think it's King Kong Escapes. They say that it's Frankenstein in the Mecha King Kong suit.
Oh god.
It's fucking dumb. All right. Godzilla versus the Giants.
I'm gonna say Mexico.
Mexico does like their giants.
That's my first guess.
Fuck, Switzerland? I don't know.
Nope, it's Italy.
Oh,
Fuck.
Okay. One more. The planet of Godzilla.
Poland?
Close.
Austria.
Nope.
Sure.
Ah,
Belgium.
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 I didn't even know that they were released in Belgium.
Yeah.
Yes. So now, this will be a fun game we'll play as we go forward. So no cheating and looking it up, guys. We'll every once in a while we will bust out. Name the country that this title came from. Because
Nice.
I get really into alternative titles for things because I think it's really funny. Especially when it comes to genre stuff, whether it's sci-fi, horror, or Japanese kaiju movies. It gets really fun. But yes, if it involves the word Frankenstein, it is always Germany.
Yeah, so we'll always get that one right.
Yeah, pretty much. So let me see. Did I have anything else that I wanted to bring up for this one? Because I don't think... Oh, can we talk about, like, the suplex that was so nice they had to show it twice?
I think they showed it 3 times.
Yeah. They had to
Well,
go
that
thrice.
didn't rhyme, damn it.
No,
Thrice.
the suplex
Said
so
thrice.
nice they could have gone thrice.
Damn it, you're right. Shit.
Joke
Anyway.
burn. Joke fail.
Yeah, pretty much. I also want to talk about the bending of Ghidorah's neck. They, like, bend it, like, completely backwards that it just looks unnatural. And I'm like,
dead.
I think, yeah, that's what I was like, I'm pretty sure he's fucking dead, Godzilla. Pretty sure a chiropractor is not going to be able to fix that. I don't care what space nebula you're from.
He was dead the second time you fucking did the suplex.
Yeah, it's just so fucking, like, when he's holding Ghidorah back and Anguirus is just, like, running into him. Like, the bending of that neck, I'm just sitting there like, oh, get the fuck out of here. No way. No way does that happen. All right, so...
the only thing that bothered me, the last thing really, is just I'm a little disappointed that Godzilla didn't get to destroy the Godzilla Tower. For some reason, as soon as I saw them standing next to each other, I'm like, come on, smash the shit out of that thing. And he never does.
You know what? I didn't know I needed that until right now, so thanks. I do actually like I do think it's funny that the bad guys open the door and it's the drawing of everybody, and they shoot that and it blows up the TNT.
That is kind of fucking funny.
I can't believe that worked.
It was probably the corn guy that drew that too and made that.
Well, you know,
No,
that's
it
why
was-
they made him a cartoon. They made him a cartoon illustrator just for that joke.
It had to be because it definitely wasn't worth him being that for fucking Mamaga or whatever her name was. Okay, first of all, if you're gonna make
Monster of Strict Mothers.
yeah, and then the monster of homework. You know what? No kid is scared of homework. They just don't want to do it. Like unless this homework goes, you let your dog eat me, but now I'm gonna eat you. Other than that, shut the fuck up. No one wants that. Not a single person.
And the fucking stupid head of the fucking children's. I was like, I like these ideas. Yeah, sure you do, buddy. You fucking.
You creep. First of all,
Did he
you
look
look
like an
creepy as
Asian
shit.
John Holmes?
He did.
That's who it was. That's who it was. Killing me.
If this dude comes up to me and goes, I'm making a playground for children. Nope. I am not sending my kid. All kids want are peace. No, all kids want are a Snicker bar and a fucking iPad. They don't want your peace. They definitely don't want your peace that's in your pants, so keep it there.
Usually,
It was-
anyway.
Oh god, it was killing me. That guy reminded me of something. I couldn't figure it out. That's who it was. Oh.
Yeah. Also, one more dumb thing. Anguirus. why did you just headbutt a saw blade? Like, at what point were you like, oh, my horns will definitely beat this saw blade?
That was the point where the director said, run in here so I could get blood on the camera.
Pretty much. So, all in all, for me personally, I think Godzilla vs. Gigan is worth watching to see the Gigan suit.
Yeah.
And see Gigan in action. But you gotta sit through a lot of stuff you really don't want to see. Definitely not the worst in the Showa series. All
Definitely.
Monsters Attack. But it is one that I don't rewatch a lot. Derek, your final thoughts on where it falls for you?
Yeah, like when I was a kid, this is what was one of my favorites for some weird reason. Well, like I said, I really like the quirky humor of the guy that had the fucking. He was my favorite character, to be honest. The guy that had the fucking corn as a gun.
Is it? Do you want his hair? Is that what it is?
Oh God.
Yes. I don't know.
Can someone Photoshop Derek with a long set of hair like that and a bandana? Because I give him my hair. Because I do that. I wear a bandana a lot on. Well, not a bandana. It's like one of those headbands you buy from the women's section, and you just put it on to keep your hair back. I don't know what they actually use it for, but it keeps your hair back, and that's what I use it for. And I kind of want to see Derek with my hair.
Yeah, but like when the humans, like our main humans, are like weak, like little like side characters. Like he's comes like a major part of the story, but he's more of like a side character. He's like getting our main characters to point A to point B. Like when they're doing like the investigation shit, like I just like the side characters in movies sometimes more than like the actual main characters, which works in my benefit. But
yeah,
like
I just can't help but just rather be watching Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla when it comes to the human story plot in this one.
True that, like the monster stuff I really enjoy. Besides like all the use of like like the extra stock footage and shit. And, like even them not making like a new score for this, it's just like stuck. Even though like the musical cues do work for where they put them, it's really weird sometimes when you look at it that way. But overall, I still, it's not one of my favorites. It's still like not like it's like a middle tier Godzilla movie in my opinion. It's not like one of the best or like one of the worst. It's like near like the middle for me personally. And if you are a fan of Godzilla, I say still check it out, especially for the Gigan stuff and like like the tag team like battle scene. It's awesome.
Yeah, don't make this your first. This should not be in the first couple of Godzilla movies you watch. Okay. You need to be a little seasoned first. I think it's a good way to put it. Venom, how would you put it?
Well, as I've already said, Gigan's my favorite kaiju. So just for his mere presence, this does make this film one that I do revisit fairly often. I'd probably say every other year, maybe I'll pop this in just to watch it. Like I said, just to lay eyes on my favorite kaiju. But I agree with everyone, as far as the weaknesses of the film. There's just too many to justify putting this too high on your list of favorite Godzilla movies. But yeah, I still personally love it. Anytime I can get some Gigan on screen, whether it be in this form or his later form that we see years later, I'll take it. So yeah, not a favorite, but very much worth watching, just so you could see Mr. Venom's favorite kaiju.
Yeah, Don?
Yeah, I'm almost right on line with Derek and his plenty of fun times to be had. Definitely not a first time, first 5 or so Godzilla films, but there's worse out there, but it's not necessarily a must get to sort of thing. So yeah, I'm almost like right there next with him.
Gotcha. And last thing I want to say is Gigan gets screwed when it comes to covers a lot. The first American poster for this movie with Godzilla Monster Island, Gigan's like in the back. You can barely see him. It's all Godzilla and King Ghidorah. Mm-hmm. Now, there is a very awesome VHS cover that actually has Gigan and Godzilla as the main piece. But then you go and look at the Sony DVD release, And it's Godzilla with a black silhouette of Ghidorah with no Gigan in sight. And literally, it's on Godzilla versus Gigan is the title of the DVD. I am very upset that Gigan, which is one of the, and I'm a huge Ghidorah fan, but Gigan is one of the best looking kaiju, and he gets jacked on his own covers. It's messed up. That's jacked.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, that's Godzilla vs. Gigan. We will be right back with our Ultraman report.
Ultraman, here he comes from the sky. Ultraman, watch our hero fly. In a super jet he comes from a billion miles away, from a distant planet land. Comes our hero,
And here we go, Ultraman Episode 2, Defeat the Invaders, starring my all-time favorite Ultraman Kaiju, Space Alien Balton. Oh my god, guys, I love him. I'm excited. Whew, man, that was good. So, Ito has a black eye.
Yep.
That's how this episode's going to start. Ito has a black eye, and we're going to find out how he has a black eye. Now, how do y'all feel about them breaking the fourth wall here? Venom.
That was jarring.
Oh, I love it. I'm a huge fan of breaking the fourth wall. I love it. I don't mind that tactic at all. I'm a huge proponent of it.
If I know that it's an option and that it's a possibility, that I'm more prepared for it, then it's not as big a deal. But just since they didn't do it in the first episode, and I didn't remember them actually doing it in any of the few episodes that I had seen when I was a kid, it definitely was like a little jarring. Like, whoa, is he looking at me? Like, it freaked me out for a second. Once I realized what was going on, and now that I know that it is potentially something that we'll see, more, I'm totally okay with it.
Well,
I'm fine
don't get
with
your
it
hopes
too,
up.
yeah.
It doesn't actually show up that much.
Yeah.
It's mostly just this episode. Okay. Arashi goes to the science center. He leaves the science patrol center to go to the science center to patrol it because something's going on. And we're just gonna get right into Space Alien Balton is fucking amazing, and he can freeze people, and when he does his okay, how do you describe what he does? Like his transferring or cloning himself, or
I would use the term replicating more than anything.
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing.
It's still not exactly accurate, but I think that's the closest I can come up with.
It reminds me of in Dragon Ball Z when they have like the after image technique, or they have like some of them have the ability to split themselves into multiple ones. You see like Piccolo do this, and Krillin even does this. It actually reminds me of that, because I mean he can literally go from 1 to 2 to 3 and then back all to 1, and it seems to be one core that can go into multiples and then just come back. Mm-hmm. It's very weird.
Like I said, that's kind of why replicating is probably like the closest you can come up with, but it's still not accurate.
Yeah, that's fair. I wonder how they wrote it down when they were creating this episode. Yeah. He can do this shit right here. And Balton's laugh is
epic.
Oh my god, it reminds me of Matango. It reminds me of the mushroom laugh. It's so good. Like Space Alien Balton looks fantastic. That design is so. I love the claw hands. I love the big yellow eyes. I love the whatever the fuck the thing on its head is. I don't know what that is. Ears, maybe horns. Any guesses? Could it be? What does he have? Flat panels? Fucking, he's in high definition over here.
Maybe.
So, how do y'all feel about space language? Like, Ito is for sure the comic relief of the show, and you either love him or hate him. There's no in between on him. But you better start loving him because he actually a lot of times gets more screen time than almost everyone in the Science Patrol. As the goofy comic relief, I guess Japan's just really into that. I feel like his son though, like if that character had a son, it's the guy in Itchy the Killer that's addicted to heroin and sitting inside of a fucking TV. You know what I mean? Like, they look kind of similar, and like, I don't know. I just feel like that's that person. So space language doesn't work, but we do get to actually. I think it's hilarious when the aliens are like, your space language is too hard to understand, so we just hijacked this dude's body.
Yeah, like it just should have been the first thing they did. It just seems like it's if you're doing it in like real life, it just seems like an unnecessary step. Just talk through the body to begin with, rather than go through the space language. So it's kind of like an odd thing to do, because they bring it up because they bring it up earlier in the episode about communicating with them, and then they have Ito do the space language, and then the aliens are like, "You're too stupid. We're gonna just do it this way," and then talk in English anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like something that in real life it wouldn't work that way. It's just like comic relief for a TV show.
Yeah. Also, that security panel that they have where they're all like, "What should we do? Let's drop nuclear weapons on them," and Captain's just like, what if that doesn't work? Let's just talk to them and see what they want. Maybe they just want ice cream or something, and we can give them to them, and they'll go. Yes, that sounds kind of stupid, but they act like he was literally like, let's just bow down and suck their dicks right now. Like, we're done. Game over. Like they're like, you want us to surrender. That's what you're really saying. And I'm like, did I say that? I mean, like, when did I say surrender? Did I speak French to you? I don't remember doing it. It's just very, like, they go really hard on him, and then they apparently argue for 2 hours and just go, well, we don't know what to do, so we're going to do that. I'm like, y'all just wasted 2 hours. Like, Bolton's over here freezing people.
Freezing motherfuckers and shit.
Yeah, and you're just going to argue for 2 hours and then be like, oh, well, we couldn't come up with anything better than your stupid plan, so let's do it. That was weird. So, the mad scientists blew up their home planet while experimenting with nuclear weapons, while apparently 60 billion of them were just chilling on a spaceship.
Invisible spaceship.
Yeah, here's my question. What kind of vacation goes, hey, we need like almost all of our population to go on this vacation together. You see, we got this really good deal, and if everyone chips in, it'll break down in a really good price. Let's go do this. And there's just a few people that were like, I don't want to go because I want to do these mad scientist evil test and accidentally blow up the planet. And then they go, they're like, well, go live on Mars. And they're like, we can't, but I can't tell you why.
Yeah, that's
why?
my favorite line.
Why would
Hilarious.
Why would you not just be like, dude, you've seen Mars, right? No one can live there. That's stupid. You're dumb. And why is it Earth that's always the perfect place to stay? Like,
I don't know. We're enamored with ourselves.
I actually was looking at this thing that was talking about the possibility of aliens actually visiting us, and if it's happened or not happened, and what like it means. And it was basically saying like, most likely in other galaxies and whatnot, they would most likely, quite possibly, have a same solar system as us, where they would have just one planet that's habitable, and it would most likely be just like our planet. Yeah. Which makes sense why they always come to Earth, because they live in a similar thing. But who the hell gave Hayata the permission to just be like, well, y'all can live here if you just fucking follow our laws and customs. Like, that would be like if I'm over at Derek's house and Don shows up with a bunch of Italians, and I'm like, well, y'all can live here as long as you follow our laws and customs. And Derek's just over there like, wait, no, this is my house. You don't get to make these rules. Like, Jerry, no. What are you doing? I said you could protect my house while I was on vacation. I didn't say you could move people in. Like, you're not even the captain of the science patrol. You're like maybe lead officer at best.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even, and technically, because of the Ultraman stuff, you actually look like you do nothing all the time.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I just thought that was very odd that he just gets to do this. But they're like, hell no.
And he doesn't even deserve the pen because he always fucking loses it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, right.
But he does do that cool, like, throw the dart thing into the shadow and it bleeds.
Yeah.
That was actually really dope, even though it made no sense.
Nope.
And I'm not sure how that worked with Bolton's technique, or if Bolton even got hurt. I'm super confused.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I was a little confused about when before Hayata turned into Ultraman, when he shot Bolton with his ray gun, was Bolton laughing at him? Like, it almost seemed like it was tickling him.
Here's the thing. I think Bolton's language just sounds like laughter to us. And so it just sounds like he's always laughing, whether he's hurt. Like, he could have been cussing.
Yeah.
He could have been like, you dirty motherfucker. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't technically even hear him roar or like offer like a screech or something like for any other kind of like vocals. I mean, maybe he actually, what sounds like laughter could be their language, because they say that they can't understand Ito, so they have to resort to the other means.
Right. I'll go with
True that, man.
yeah. So, yeah, he loses the space capsule over the edge because, oh, it's on a ledge. I better use my hand without looking to see if I can get it. And of course knocks it off. Which then has him jump off the building in front of Ito for no reason. I'm like, are you even trying to hide the fact?
And he miraculously catches the capsule.
Well, you know
he
what?
missed?
I could believe that, like, he's like, okay, I've got one shot at this. If I don't jump down and grab this capsule just perfect, I'm dead. So I'm about to Batman the shit out of this. I can almost believe that. It's still kind of dumb when you point it out.
True that.
But I can go along with it. But you know what that means? It is time for battle. Don, do you have the breakdown of this battle for us?
Alrighty. Well then, after transforming, Ultraman turns and faces Bolton, who's flying over the city, causing Ultraman to give chase. Bolton flies around the various structures in the city, where eventually Ultraman catches up and grabs it, engaging in a tumbling duel in midair. Ultraman lands a few clubs on Bolton's midsection before it flies off, firing several rockets at the fleeing Ultraman as several rockets hit buildings around the city. Landing on the ground, Ultraman turns around and fires a specium ray at Bolton, setting it aflame and the tumbling, burning Kaiju into a refinery exploding. Catching sight of their ship with his X-ray sight, he flies into the ship and pushes it into the sun, thwarting the invasion.
Okay, I've got two things I want to point out here. One, Ultraman won that by shooting Bolton in the dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That's where the fireball starts. Starts.
And second, Ultraman committed genocide. He killed 60 million of them, while
Billion.
60 billion of them, while most of the other ones had already died on their planet. I'm sure there are some that would survive in different places in space, because obviously they have a spaceship that can fit 60 fucking billion. They've got a spaceship that others are on, and they're very tiny, so I guess it can happen. But still, nonetheless, that is an act of genocide Ultraman did. And I'm sorry, but wasn't he, like, supposed to, like, before this, wasn't he basically part of a galactic space patrol of goodness? Like,
you figure genocide goes out the window when you start attacking humanity and threatening to enslave them.
Okay.
Because you forget, when Hayata is talking with him, they do say that, you know, they're going to enslave humanity. I think that kind of rules out, you know, keeping peace with genocide.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you that. It's justifiable genocide, I guess. If
Well,
that
you
can be
figure
a
to
thing.
You figure to keep the peace, you have to, resort to violence every now and then.
Fair enough. So, okay. Then we go into how Ito got his black eye. And it's
It was
actually
so
because
funny.
he fell out of bed.
Yeah.
Even though I really don't understand how you get a black eye falling on the floor.
Yeah, he
I don't get
would
it.
have had to have fallen on his fist somehow.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. He would
He
have had
fell on
to
the
do
guy's dick.
that. Arashi, god damn it. Put your penis away.
See him in bed jerking off to Fuji.
Sorry, I was thinking about Fuji. Actually, I've got to say, the chick who plays the girlfriend / sister in Gigan later on is in an Ultraman series.
Nice.
And I forgot which one, and I forgot to take note of it. But, fun fact, she is in a later Ultraman series.
Nice.
Playing basically a Fuji role. So that's pretty good.
Nice.
So, this episode, even though really not that much happens, I just love Space Alien Bald, and that's why it's one of my favorite Ultraman episodes. And that's about all I have to say about it. Derek, how do you feel about this episode?
Even though there's not a lot of kaiju action, there is some in it. You know what I mean? When Don did his report, it sounds kind of basic. It's still kind of a fun episode. I like the little humor of Bolton and stuff that he throws when he's having the discussion with Hayata and the other guy, and it's fucking kind of funny. I just like him as a character, and the abilities that he does have is really cool. And even though we don't get to see a lot of the abilities, we do see some of them. It's fucking awesome, and it's a super fun episode. So I say check it out.
All right, Venom?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I mean, for me, this was a first-time watch. I don't remember watching this episode back in the 80s. Like I said in episode 1, I wasn't a religious viewer of Ultraman, but I caught it whenever I could. And yeah, I definitely did not see this. This is a creature design that I would remember. And yeah, I pretty much agree with everyone. Bolton is pretty awesome. I liked him in both forms, both in his normal human-sized form and then obviously as a giant monster. I loved his attack, his little freeze attack. I loved his big fat pincers. And I also liked that they were almost like shotguns when he was in his kaiju form. Wasn't it? Didn't that sound like shotgun blasts coming out of his claws?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So that's also being a big fan of shotguns. I appreciated that as well. The only thing that I'm going to say is that I don't like how the final line in the episode is delivered, and it's got nothing to do with the Japanese production. It's got to do with the English dub. I wrote it down, and I'm going to deliver it exactly the way they deliver it in the episode. Basically, they forget to put in a couple of commas, which kind of changes the context of the sentence. So here it is. An invisible spaceship that can be seen by no one but Ultraman was destroyed. Now, I know what they meant to say is to put a couple of commas between but Ultraman, but the way it was delivered in the episode, I was like, wait a minute, Ultraman was destroyed? What the hell did I miss? They said they didn't take the pauses where the commas should be. They delivered the line as one long line, and it ends with "but Ultraman was destroyed." And I was like, I had to rewind, and I was like, wait a minute, did they just say that? And then I understood what they were implying, and that they just delivered the line wrong. But yeah, that definitely jarred me for a second, because for half a second I thought I missed something major.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even realize that, but yeah, wow. Don, how about yourself?
Yeah, this is a really fun one. It was one of my favorites growing up. We'll probably get to my favorite really soon. But yeah, Bolton is a great design. I love that we get to basically see the top half of him, which I'll explain more about later on when we get to talk about him again.
Oh, yeah, because in case you didn't know, Venom, Bolton does come back.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I want to see more of those sexy leggings.
Yeah. Really fast, a lot of fun. We actually get character development. We actually get to know a little bit about Ito in this episode, which we can't say about the first one because we're barely lucky we got names in the pilot.
Yeah.
But, and most importantly, a mid-air fight at night with Ultraman.
Yeah, that actually
Nighttime
was
fight.
pretty good.
Yeah, a nighttime fight in midair. There's only like maybe 2 or 3 seconds of them actually on the ground, and it's only Ultraman stopping to land and fire the specium ray at him. That's like really the only time in the fight that they're actually on the ground. The rest of it is actually in midair using the models.
Yeah. So definitely a favorite of mine for Space Alien Bond. I can't wait to hit episode 3. I can't wait till we get further in it when Balton comes back, because that's also a really good episode. Don can back me up on that one.
Right.
So that is Ultraman episode 2. So next episode we'll get into Ultraman episode 3, of course. But for us here on Monster Island, Monsterland, Visions from Monsterland, we're not on an island. Those were our visions from Monsterland. I hope you enjoyed them. For me, for Derek, for Venom, for Don, we are glad that you joined us. In the description will be links to all the podcasts we do, so make sure to check that out. We will see you next time in another Weird Monster Giant filled episode. I'm out. Derek, you got any parting words?
Do the Gigan and stay away from Asian John Holmes.
Damn straight. Venom, you got any last words?
Nothing clever, but I did actually want to shout out really, really fast. I'm not sure when this episode is going to be out, but if it's out before Friday the 13th, if you live in Southern California, this weekend in Pasadena, we're having Monster Palooza, which is our biannual big monster convention. It's usually horror. It's horror specific, but this year they're going to have a lot of different guests from both the Godzilla and the Ultraman universe. We've got Shinji Nishikawa is going to be there, who worked on Godzilla Tokyo and Godzilla Final Wars, Godzilla Tokyo SOS, excuse me. We've got Shinichi Wakaza, who worked on many Godzilla movies in the 90s and early 2000s doing special effects there. We've got Tsutomu Kitagawa, who actually played Godzilla for a lot of those same films in the late 90s and early 2000s. And then the final one, and the one that I'm most excited about, and Don, correct me if I pronounce this wrong, Ben Furuya?
Ben Furuya.
Yeah, who actually plays Iron Man, who plays Ultraman. All 4 of these guys are going to be at the convention, and I'm going to meet them all. So if you find yourself in Southern California the weekend of Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th, Sunday the 15th, come on out to the Pasadena Convention Center. I'll be there probably on Sunday checking out stuff and hopefully picking up some new Kaiju toys. But yeah, sorry I got long-winded. I just wanted to throw that out there for the Southern California listeners.
Damn, I am jealous of that.
Me too.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
I'll take lots of pictures.
Please do. We will have a report of that on the next episode for sure. Don, do you have any last words?
Just watch the skies. You don't want to miss. You don't want any Baltons coming after you.
Or puppet Ghidorahs.
They're puppet Ghidorahs.
Our fucking cockroaches. We didn't even bring up the fact that the aliens were cockroaches, but I kind of didn't care.
It's not that important, really.
Yeah,
it's more just like a shock.
Go ahead.
It's more just like a shock thing, the lightning flash, and then you see the shadow. It's not really a big deal.
Yeah, I like my aliens to be wearing Time of the Apes mask, personally.
Or Devo, or dress like Devo.
Yeah, or that. So that's it from us. We will see you next time. Thank you for joining us. And like Don said, keep looking at the sky, because you never know when underwater kaiju from outer space will be coming for you.